All right, yo, what's up, everybody? Fantasy exec Jovan, Monday Night Football. We live and lit. Let's get it. The Executive Network is now brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Hit the link in the comment section for a 100% deposit match, courtesy of the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy. Win with the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy this NFL season. Yo, what's up? It's Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, the good homie Jovan. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the end of week one, first Monday Night Football game of the year. We're getting ready to break it down for you, give you some plays for Underdog Fantasy, give you some best bets, give you some props. Look back at the week that was Jovan, my man, and also get ready for the week that's coming up. What's up with you, good brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. It's been a minute since we've been in like a show atmosphere, going back to the Mac Jones, the Justin Fields wars of last season. So glad to be on talking week one with you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you know what? We got to get to a little bit of Mac Jones and Justin Fields. I'm glad you did bring that up because it looks like a lot of the same in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? But we will discuss that. But you know what? I do want to get on here and get some waiver wire advice out to the people. You know what I'm saying? Because it is after 1 week of football. And I want to ask you about a couple names that's going to be hot waiver wire pickups this week. And start right there in your city, the city of brotherly love. If you want to call it that, you know what I'm saying? Not a lot of love if you come up there rocking that Dallas Cowboys star. I'm thinking the love might miss you. But your man Ken Gainwell, good performance yesterday, good involvement. DeAndre Swift is I don't ever want to hear the name DeAndre Swift again. But Ken Gainwell, what's going on with that? Is he a guy you're looking at on the waiver wire this week?
I want to say yes, but I also want to say no because it's like we don't know like how this Eagles running back room is going to shake out. Like we saw yesterday, which was surprising to me, that it was just Kenny Gainwell first drive, like Gainwell, which is like not what you expect because last year was kind of like Miles Sanders mixed in with some Gainwell, with more so that this week, I mean, in week one, it was a lot of Gainwell. Swift played a little bit, but he didn't have, I think he only had 2 targets, 1 reception, but it was for 0 yards. Came in really on a lot of passing downs on pass block, and we did not see Rashard Penny, who was a healthy scratch. So if I would lean towards Gainwell for week 2. I mean, just for what he gives you. I mean, he had almost 4 yards a carry and 4 receptions for 20 yards. I think when you're looking for a running back in fantasy, right, you want a guy that can do a little bit of both, that can run the ball well, but also be a factor in the passing game.
All right, let's go to Los Angeles where Joshua Kelly was getting some work behind Austin Eckler. Both of them ran the football well. I think you see that Kellen Moore is going to dedicate himself to a little bit more of a power run game, which fits Josh Kelly real good. I think Kelly is a pickup on the waiver wire this week if he's out there.
Yeah, no, Joshua Kelly. I remember when he was a rookie, everybody was hyping him up.
I remember that too.
He's going to be that
Josh Kelly prisms.
Yeah, me too. I got the Josh Kelly mosaic sitting there like, all right, this is the time.
Still waiting. Yeah, exactly.
Time to cash in. But no, like you said, Kellen Moore, I think everybody thought with Kellen Moore coming in that, Justin Herbert's just going to air it out. And, he's got Quentin Johnson and all those receivers going to air it out. No, I mean, 16 carries for both running backs, and their snap share was almost close. 51% for Eckler, 48% for Kelly. So, I mean, if he keeps this up, I mean, he's a guy that I think got overlooked in a lot of drafts because you're thinking always Eckler. If he puts together another good out, and I think we're going to start seeing that stock for Joshua Kelly go up a little bit more.
Let's head out to this backfield with the Rams. I mean, the Cam Akers thing was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. He does somehow, a way or another, you salvage a good fantasy day out the situation. But maybe I'm pronouncing the name wrong, Karen, or I'm just going to call son Karen. Karen Williams. Let me not do that to my man. Karen, whatever son name is, Williams. You know who I'm talking about, Jovan. Is he somebody we should be looking at this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should. Kyron Williams showed a lot more boost than what Cam Akers did, and I 100%. think what also gives you a little bit more confidence in Williams is that he got the goal line carries, like in the goal line, in that red zone area. He was able to cash in on 2 touchdowns, and he almost had 3 if he didn't get caught from behind, inside the red zone. So I like Kyron Williams more than you just look at their snap share. 65% for Williams, only 35 for Akers. And this was a guy who in a lot of drafts was like, what, 8th round, 9th round? And
People
it was
was
kind of
talking him up. Yep.
Yeah, and it was kind of puzzling. Like, hold on, like Cam Akers, yeah, he had a great end to last season, but his numbers weren't like super spectacular. So Kyron Williams, I think definitely needs to be the guy, especially because 15 for 52. What Akers had? What 12 for 29? Like,
exactly.
That's not good.
Williams just looked better running the football too. You know what I'm saying? Like some people pop off the screen. Williams looked like he was determined. He was running like he was trying to get a check. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely like that energy that I saw Williams running with more so than the energy I saw Cam Akers running with. Cam Akers and DeAndre Swift, two of the biggest talent bust running back wise that we've really seen. A guy who has been a bust, but not really because of talent, mainly because of injuries. And listen, as soon as I saw not Gus Edwards, my man J.K. Dobbins go down yesterday, obviously my first thoughts were a couple of fantasy teams that I was heavily invested in where I took a stab at Dobbins. Then I thought about it, and man, for as tough as it is for me, I know that kid is heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? He's going to lose another full season. It's very unfortunate. Such a talented player. He looked like he was getting ready to have a game yesterday, but now he is done for the season yet again. So definitely thoughts out to him and his family and his teammates in that running back room in Baltimore. But when you dig inside that room, it's Gus Edwards there. It's Justice Hill there. You also got like guys like Fournette, Kareem Hunt hanging around out there. Gus Edwards just seems like every year he's going to be a part of the Ravens offense. Gus the Bus, the pride of Staten Island.
Hey man, the Gus bus is always moving. It stays charged up, ready to go. And we also can't forget about Melvin Gordon too.
Yeah, exactly.
We also have Melvin Gordon. So yeah, Gus Edwards, 8 for 32 yesterday, but just over his Ravens career, he's just been that reliable guy that you can just give 10 to 12 carries to, and he'll just keep moving the line of scrimmage forward, keep on getting, positive yards. So RB2 flex, depending on the game. I like Gus Edwards a lot in that backfield.
Curious, what was your thoughts on the Ravens offense? I understand it was only week 1, but it looked like the same offense the past couple years.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked, not because I had, Lamar over 1.5 touchdown passes, but I was shocked because everybody was talking about how Monken was going to come in, that there's, it's going to be more, you're going to let Lamar do his thing at the line, throw the ball around a little bit more. But they just said, hey, I was just like, are we watching Greg Roman 2.0? Because every time they got in the red zone, it was run the ball, which I don't blame them, right? Like if the Texans aren't going to stop you and you can win at the line of scrimmage with them, then go ahead and do it. I hope, because you see they do got playmakers. Zay Flowers is a playmaker.
Zay Flowers can get it done.
Yeah, you hope that we start to see the passing game open up a little bit more. Maybe that was also a factor because there was no Mark Andrews either.
If you played quarterback chicken a little bit too long, you could have Jordan Love on your waiver wire. If you're in a league with me, you will not have Jordan Love on your waiver wire because he's on my bench. You know what I'm saying? Because Jovan, I kind of figured this was going to happen. He looks like a player.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised a lot of people, even drafts I was in, I was seeing Jordan Love just slide. Just everybody's just looking over him and, not even picking him up and just fall to waiver wire. This guy, I know he's like an unknown and we only seen like bits and pieces of him. People got to remember he's been in this offense for a minute now. So he's had, time to just sit there and just learn. And even the preseason, I thought he played really well. He didn't turn over the ball, didn't make mistakes, put the ball where he needed to be. And, he came out against a Bears defense, which I know they added, Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards to that defense, but it's still the Bears defense at the end of the day. And he was able to make plays. And I think this is only a good sign to come because this was also without Christian Watson too. So I like Jordan Love. I personally, because I have a Packers 5-1 ticket to win the North. So
there you go.
Shout out to Emery for putting that bet out there over the summer. So I like Jordan Love.
Wait a minute now. I said the Packers was going to win the division too. Let's not just give Emery Hunt the credit. You know what I'm saying?
The playbook and the fantasy exec.
There you go, right there. I feel a little bit better about that right now. Finally, once again, another dude. I think his name is Puka Nuka, whatever his son's name is. he looked like motherfucking Cooper Kupp. You know what I'm saying? I can get behind some Puka if he's on the waiver wire. To me, he's a must-add at wide receiver. People talking about, well, will that value remain the same when Cooper Kupp come back? Cooper Kupp coming back, you might be waiting a bit for that.
yeah, for real, man. No, it's funny you said that, right? Because I'm watching Puka Nacua and I'm like, hold on, is this like Cooper Kupp on the field? Like, not saying like he is, but just the things they were doing with him, it was like he was playing that role. And again, he's not someone, I mean, he did stretch the field a couple of times, but those intermediate routes, those middle of the field, he was just that safety valve. And I mean, what he had 15 targets. I mean, yo, man, that
sounds
nothing.
like Cooper Kupp in that offense.
Yes, that's nothing to sneeze at.
One of the things that you can, some teams, what they do a good job at Dallas, they know that Tyron Smith is always going to be hurt, so they went and grabbed Tyler Smith. It seems like the Rams knew that health was going to continue to be an issue, and they went and got a player that could play like Cooper Kupp for those times when he is out. So good luck to them. So on the Fantasy Executive newsletter over there on Substack today, I dropped 3 bets that I've already placed for week 2 already. I want to get your thoughts on them, and I want to start with, I haven't seen the updated lines, but I want to start with Raiders and Bills next weekend in Buffalo. Buffalo Bills 9.5-point favorites, home favorites. I'm on the Raiders. Like, I was on the Raiders last year and I took a beating, right? But I kept saying to myself, man, a lot of these games, they're right there. Yesterday, they get that win over the Broncos. That's normally a game. Last year's Raiders would have lost that game.
Yeah.
This year's Raiders, I feel much better about. Now, are they going to go into Buffalo and get a win? Maybe not, but they can cover 9.5.
Yeah, man. When I saw that 9.5, I was kind of shocked because, like you said, Oakland didn't look. I mean, Las Vegas, they didn't look bad at all, right? They have, Jacoby Myers, even though he got hurt at the end, I think he's in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
He looks like
he played well.
Yeah, solid number 2 next to Devontae Adams. And then we look just at that, the Bills defense, obviously we'll see them tonight, in full action. They do have some guys in that secondary, but, how do they make up for the loss of Tremaine Edmonds? That's a huge loss. I mean, they still have Matt Milano, but if you're the Raiders, you kind of have the pieces to do what you need to do, right? You protect Garoppolo from that defensive line, get the ball out to your playmakers, run the ball with Jacobs, kind of shorten the game. You could do a little bit of things, and we know Josh Allen, is capable of
Josh Allen, the AFC Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he's capable. He's capable of turning it over a little bit, and that's all you need. I just feel like 9.5. I mean, you would think that the Raiders are like the Cardinals. You know what I'm saying? Like
9.5 is a lot. I thought that was a typo right there. So, and they still got to go out there and all this. Oh, West Coast to East Coast for a 1 o'clock start. Yeah, ask the San Francisco 49ers about that. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers what they think about that. Seattle Seahawks let's go ahead and crown them NFC champion Detroit Lions. Lions laying 5.5 at home versus the Seahawks. The Seahawks had that poor outing yesterday. The Lions had the big win on Thursday night. I would easily take the 5.5 with the Seahawks. I would sprinkle the money line here too. I'm not saying I'm not a Lion. I'm a Lions disbeliever. I just don't think they 5.5 points better than the Seahawks. And when you look at that game last week, that game was given to them.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And like you said, I think these two teams played each other last year, if I'm not mistaken. I
believe Seahawks might have won the game last year.
Yeah, I think that was the case. So, yeah, I mean, for Seattle, like you said, 5.5 points a lot. I know it's again overreaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lions go on the road. They take down Kansas City, even though Kansas City, like you said, they should have won that game. I mean, if the wide receivers, Kadarius Toney, somebody make a catch,
Kadarius Toney thing was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And then the Giants fans hopping in his comments was great.
Oh yeah, and then I don't know, you saw he responded back to the Giants fans, showing the score of last night's game on his Instagram. So, I mean, 5.5 points is just going back to this game. I feel like, again, overreaction to the Lions, and Seattle still got an offense. I mean, they didn't play well. Geno was under duress a lot. They still got the guys to do it. Defensively, they're going to have to tighten up because you gave up 30 plus to a Rams team with no Cooper Kupp. And the running back room is just guys. So you got to tighten that up real quick, and hopefully getting Devin Witherspoon back on that opposite side of Tariq Woolen should help him out a little bit.
Final one, I bet already Bears and Buccaneers. This one had the Bears as had the Buccaneers at a 2.5 point home favorite. I wanted to get that 2.5 before that 3 hit. That 3 is live all over the place right now. So I'm in on that one already. And man, the Bears, listen, your man Shady, I'm a big Shady McCoy fan, right? He was on the show with Joy Taylor, and I don't know. I know it's Joy Taylor and LaShawn McCoy. Everybody else is irrelevant, right? So they was talking about how people were saying that they think that Justin Fields is going to take a Jalen Hurts style step up this year. And I'm like, oh, no. I don't believe that's going to be the case. Then Emmanuel Acho, oh my God. He says 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. And I'm like, that's Lamar Jackson's MVP season.
Right.
But the Bears, listen, optimistic about Fields, sure. Great fantasy asset, sure. He turns the football over too much. And at critical points in the game, he gives the game away. I like the Buccaneers to at least win by a field goal.
Yeah, no, I like the Bucks too. I think how they played yesterday showed me a ton about the team, because I think it was kind of an unknown. Like, what is this team going to look like post Brady? Baker Mayfield did his job, just kept him in it, made plays when he needed to. And hey, anytime you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, I expect Rachaad White to play better than how he did in week 1. He did not look good.
He killed me on Underdog yesterday.
He killed me everywhere in fantasy. So I expect him to play better, which should help him. And in this defense, I mean, come on, man. That I know the Bears upgraded, added some pieces to the offensive line, but come on, you're going against Vita Vea, Tryon Shawinka, Levante David, Devin White.
That's the strength of the Buccaneers is their defense.
Right. And if Fields is having turned over the ball like he did against Green Bay and they're not being able to convert, it's going to be a long day for him. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think the Bucks do come out and get this win, which I'm probably sure nobody thought they'd be starting 2-0.
How about that?
To start the season with Baker Mayfield.
All right, Underdog Fantasy, which brings you this program, is fantasy stats based contest. Now, I like to play in the pick'em contest, even though I gave one of the daily drafts a run yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have Tyreek Hill, so my goodness, Tyreek Hill. It never stops. I think he's going to have more. It's just not going to be his only 200-yard game this season. The way that they get that thing rolling when those games are tight, him and Tua, they got it going. Now, with that being said, I want to read to you some of the picks, Jovan. Get your thoughts on some of the things I have tonight. Aaron Rodgers over a half total yards. This is a promo right here. So take that, get your card started with that. Higher than a half a yard. So basically, cash that one. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson higher than 67.5 receiving yards for his fantasy stats. And I'm going to go James Cook lower than 62.5 rushing and receiving yards for his fantasy stats. Curious your thoughts on those. Well, those two right there, Garrett Wilson and James Cook. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is the promo. That's the freebie. You can hit that link in the description box and get in on Underdog Fantasy tonight and cash out tonight too. What do you think about James Cook and Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, James Cook, again, another one of those guys in fantasy that everybody, loves, putting stock in and saying, this is the year.
That's kind of why I'm fading him.
Right. This is the year it's going to happen. There's no Devin Singletary, but I think people forget, Damian Harris is still a pretty good running back, and he will be utilized in certain situations that could take James Cook off the field. And again, you're going against a Jets defense that's really good in that front seven, and that have the guys to match up with Cook coming out of the backfield, if especially in the receiving game as well. So I like that. And then Garrett Wilson, I like too. I mean, this guy, he's developed that chemistry real quick with Aaron Rodgers. So, and I know that he's probably going to be matched up a ton with Tre'Davious White. However, I do think that he'll still be able to get his numbers, because I know, again, Tre'Davious is good, but Garrett Wilson is a little bit better, especially when you think about the entire offense that the Jets have, with Lazard and Cobb and Hartman and Conklin and Uzoma and Cook and Hall. I mean, so many weapons. You're going to have to pick and choose on how you defend this team.
All right, and then you got some Underdog Fantasy plays for tonight too as well. Let me hear your card, Jovan.
All right, so for me, I got Josh Allen. I know this number just went up from where it was earlier, but I still like him higher than 37.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
Again, I feel like, you can't take Josh Allen out of the running game completely. And I know I was looking at his attempts because I was like, his attempts are like a solid number, but he could easily get this under his attempt number. So I like this. He's going over this number in 10 out of 16 games last season. Last year against the Jets, averaged 66.5 rushing yards per game. In week 1 as a starter in his career, he's averaging 48.7 rushing yards per game. So I like that higher right there. I'm going with another higher one. I'm going Allen Lazard, higher 36 and a half rushing yards. Again,
rushing or receiving?
Receiving 36 and a half receiving. I feel like everybody is going to get on Garrett Wilson, stack up all the Garrett Wilson props and plays, which is great, right? Because he's going to get his.
Garrett Wilson, yeah.
I think we can't forget about Allen Lazard and his rapport with Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to be probably matched up against Christian Benford, who gave up last year 13.6 receiving yards per reception. So I think Lazard, again, he's going to find a way to get his little yards. He's not that deep threat, beat you down the field, but intermediate route, I think he can get that. And then for my last play, I'm going to go Gabe Davis lower than 3 receptions. I didn't want to, but I just feel like Gabe Davis is so hot and cold. When he's on, he's on, but when he's off, he's not very productive. And last year, he went lower than 3.5 receptions in 11 out of 15. And last year against the Jets, he had 2 receptions and 3 receptions. So those are my plays for Underdog for Monday night.
All right, good looking out, good stuff right there. Now, people on here, right? If you're watching this on the stream, right, and you want to get down with Underdog, and you're like, well, I don't crunch the numbers like you guys do, you know what I'm saying, or like Jovan does, really. You can check out the people I'm partnering with over at Odds Jam. They have an Underdog Fantasy Optimizer. I'm going to share with y'all a couple of the players, get your thoughts on them, Jovan. This is from Odds Jam. There's a link in the description if you want to get down with their plays. Dalvin Cook higher than 2 receptions.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Again, because we talked about it, right? There's no Tremaine Edmonds. That was their big, linebacker in the middle, pass coverage. They're starting a second-year guy out there, so I like that. Over 2.5, he should be able to get it.
Randall Cobb higher than 18.5 receiving yards. So now this one here scares me a little bit. Yeah. This is what it is with these, right? You're like, okay, well, that's a good low number. The number is this low for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The number is low because look who else that he has on the field that he can get the ball to. But again, in those, the Jets are probably going to have a couple of third down situations. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to turn to? He might turn to his guy and Randall Cobb in that slot to get, pick up that 3rd and 5, that 3rd and 7 when the Jets need it.
That's a good call right there. Here's one, and you already made mention to this. Josh Allen under 7 rushing attempts. This one right here is a hot play right now on Odds Jam. And you mentioned you taking the over on his rushing yards, but you mentioned he doesn't need 7 carries to get that.
No, he doesn't. And then, like we mentioned, we factored in James Cook and what he's going to do, and then Damian Harris. He's also going to factor into that running game. Because I think people forget, last year was a down year because he was hurt, but the year before he was a touchdown machine and carrying that ball for the Patriots. So I do like the lower for that too. And
then also they have lower James Cook 10.5 rushing attempts. I am definitely going to tell that one right there because I think you see, like you've mentioned everything with Harris and Allen, you know what I'm saying, and the Jets defense, they can get into a spot where they could have to pass the ball tonight. So I am going to go ahead and tell the people at Odds Jam on that one right there. James Cook lower than 10.5 rushing attempts.
Yeah, same. I agree. I mean, again, I think if he goes lower to that number, then he's getting his targets in the passing game to kind of even out that balance for whatever, they have planned for him. All
right, let's get ready to bring it home, get to the good stuff. Let's get ready to handicap the matchup. New York Jets, one of the stories of the offseason, bringing Aaron Rodgers to be their quarterback. That defense looks lit. They got the little hard knock bump. I'll be honest with you. People are talking about them. People are starting to be optimistic, mainly because of hard knocks and mainly because another reason why people like them is there seems to be some dramatics. It seems to be a culture issue right now with the Buffalo Bills. But the New York Jets are 2-point. This was 2.5. Now it's down to 2. 2-point home dogs. The total, I believe, is either 42 or 44.5. Should be a low-scoring contest with these two defenses. Jovan, I'll set it off. I am going to take the New York Jets getting the 2 points, and I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle that money line. I think the Jets win the game and get the jump in the AFC East.
Yeah, I was going back and forth with this one because I was like, they're very even at a lot of positions, but it comes down to which defense can I trust more to get a stop right now. And I think that the Jets defense can get that stop and kind of, again, we mentioned it earlier, force Josh Allen into that critical mistake, either in the red zone or somewhere in the second half where he just makes that critical mistake and kind of takes the game over and gives the momentum back to the Jets. So I'm going to be there with you. I'm probably going to take the Jets straight up on the money line and, hope for the best.
Anything else you're looking at tonight, or just that Jet play? Anything on that total? Anything prop wise?
Prop wise, I'm going back with Damian Harris. I feel like if they get
anytime touchdown scorer.
Anytime touchdown. I got it at FanDuel at plus 320.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so I feel like this is just more of like a gut play and just thinking how the game could play out. I feel like, again, if the Bills get into the red zone, everybody's probably gonna be thinking, all right, Josh Allen or maybe one of the tight ends, right, Kincaid or Dawson Knox. But if Harris is in that goal line, I think he'd be able to sneak one in against the Jets red zone defense that was 44.9% on conversions in the red zone, second best in the league last year. And that's very good, but I feel like if they get in that red zone, Damian Harris, he showed us when he was healthy in New England, he got a nose for the goal line, so I'm going to lean on that at plus 320.
And then here's one that I will give you too. I like to do this a lot. You know what I'm saying? First of all, if you always drop, even if it's $1 or $2, especially with a spread this close for the game for the game to end in a tie in regulation, or the game to go to overtime, you can always get that at plus 750 to plus 850. Also, New York Jets defense to score a touchdown. New York Jets defense anytime touchdown scorers. You know how Josh Allen like to give it up, and obviously the Jets got some talent in the back end of that defense that could turn that thing around and make it happen. So thanks to everybody for checking in. Jovan, good looking out, my man. Good luck to everybody tonight. And Jovan, I thank you, my brother. Good looking out for hopping on the stream. And let's do this every Monday night. A little quick game night action preview what's coming up. Get you ready for the waiver wire and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying, Joe? I appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. Thanks again.
All right, for my man Jovan, Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, and we out.